Hi. Today I'd like to discuss two subjects that are kind of interrelated. The first one is providing family and friend discounts, and some basic guidelines and some things to consider before you come up with your own policy. I'm not going to say what I think is right or wrong, I'm just going to say what you need to consider before you start offering your friends and family discounted repairs or free repairs or just parts cost repairs. The second thing that I want to get into, which is a little bit more complicated, is what you do when you're attracted to a customer, or what to do when a customer is attracted to you, and how to handle it. Now, I've said in many other videos that this is a social business, and I really believe that this is a social industry more so than a technology-based industry, at least what it is that I'm doing. Because a lot of the times, again, once you know how to do this stuff, you know it. That's the easy part. Dealing with when something unexpected comes up, when somebody doesn't believe you, when you're being accused of something, all of that is the hard part, the part that separates people who run their own successful businesses from people who fail in 1 or 2 years or never really make it out of their apartment. So I would like to go into that with this video while simultaneously fixing this piece of shit HP. Now, I'm not going to get into the argument as to whether or not it is correct or incorrect or professional or unprofessional to fraternize with your customers, because people could cite many different situations in which this has worked and in which this hasn't worked. You can cite the 80-year-old couple that's been together for 55 years because Bob at the grocery store asked Linda out while she was buying milk, and it was love at first sight, and they're happily ever after, never argued. And then you can cite some dude in Starbucks who was probably sued or had a restraining order put on him because he was following a customer home. I'm not going to get into whether or not it's right, because there are a wide, varying array of experiences from many different people. I'm also not even remotely going to get into the subject of how to get guys or how to get girls in this video. No. There are books, there's an entire $1 million industry, probably $1 billion industry based on trying to explain to insecure people how to get a date. And that's not something I'm even remotely trying to do. Particularly since I make so many awful decisions in my own personal life, I'm not trying to guide you towards your own misery. But what I'd like to just keep it at is some basic pointers and keep it business on how to deal with it. So the first thing that I'd like to touch on is what I was repeating over and over again in the reviews video, which is never pay somebody to like you. Never pay somebody to leave a good review. Never pay somebody to like you on Facebook. Never do this directly. Offer a discount on service via a coupon that anybody can buy or something, but never say, here's $5. Like me on Facebook. Here's $10. Leave a review. You're cute. I'm going to take $50 off your repair. That is bad. Here are a couple of reasons why. Outside of the obvious ones which deal with self-respect. The first is people who actually like you, or they're going to be a little bit nervous about, just a little bit, about giving off a good impression. And one of the ways that they're going to give off a good impression is not bothering you on price to make it lower just for them. They're often going to be willing to pay whatever it is you say, and they're going to have a nice little smile on it as long as it's reasonable. Like if you're saying it's going to be $900 to fix a piece of shit HP DV5, they're going to say no. But if you say it's $50 to fix your phone screen, they should just say yes. Especially if they like you and they came with the intention of having this done. The women who don't actually like you, who are flirting to attempt to get a cheaper repair, those are the women who are going to say, bother you over price over and over and over again. For example, I don't have this blog entry in front of me. It's about a week and a half, 2 weeks old. There was a woman who came in for some repair, and I don't remember the exact repair. It was somewhere between $150 and $250. And she was very, very flirtatious, and it was very obvious. She was just going on and on, talking, clearly continuing conversations when I did not have any desire to continue a conversation. And at the end of it, she looks at me and she's like, and I tell her, I think it was like 150 or something, and she goes, that's not for me, that's not going to be 150, right? And she puts her hands on my shoulder and's like moving it around, and I go, no, of course not. And she has this look on her face, and I wait for it to get to be a full smile before I go, that's $150 plus tax. You don't have a resale certificate. And oh man, like, I have not had a breakup in my life that was worse than this checkout experience of getting her to pay for this repair. She stepped away. She had a menacing grin on her face. Like, it was, and I told her it would be $150 before I even started. And it is raining outside. She's like, well, I don't have any cash on me. You're not going to make me walk out there, are you? And I go, I would not make you walk out there. I mean, you're allowed to run. You won't get as wet running, going to chase on 10th Street and 2nd Avenue that way. But fuck you if you think I'm doing this for free. Or for the $20 or whatever it is you have in your wallet. Go and give me some money. And that experience, it happens. I've seen it happen before, and I've seen technicians get tricked in making data recovery, data transfer, and all sorts of stupid, silly shit because they have a crush on a girl. Now, also, I'm not trying to be sexist by using women as instead of men here. It's just that I noticed that, in general, men are the ones making these stupid decisions. Women are usually too smart for this shit. They're not giving away anything for free just because they like somebody or they think somebody's cute. It's usually men that are doing that are being stupid. So, and also I'm a man myself, so it's easier to talk from that perspective. But yeah, most of the time it is men that are doing these stupid things. So let's say it's somebody that actually that you do like and you are interested in. You can be friendly, but don't do any sort of thing that really steps over and becomes really flirtatious until after you're done. Do your repair, do the best job you possibly can, and wait until you're fully done with it to ask for a number or ask somebody out. And here's why. You don't want somebody to it's not right that for somebody to feel like they have to be nice to you in order to get something fixed. And I know you may not have it in your head that, I'm not going to fix this if she doesn't go out with me. But you don't want her to have that in her head, and you don't want that to be a factor or something that you have to think about. You don't want to make somebody else feel that way. So get the business out of the way first and be a professional. And then once the business is done, once it's paid for, once you know that it works, then, ask for a number or say something flirtatious or ask somebody out. But don't do that in the middle of the work. That is what I think people are going to find creepy and wrong. Now, I've been doing this for about 4 or 5 years, and running a business, unfortunately, you just don't get the free time that you want a lot, especially in the beginning. So I work about 12 to 16 hours a day. I take off Christmas, Memorial Day, but for the most part, I'm at work very, very often. So it's only natural that on occasion I do meet people at work, and I have actually wound up dating them for a while. And when they had their first repair done, there was one woman who had, I think, 4 or 5 repairs done here, and eventually I figured out that she wasn't letting her friends bring the repairs in because she wanted to be the one who brought them in so that she could see me. That's a long story for another day, but I didn't give a single discount. Now, after I had been dating this person for a while, if she had a broken glass on her phone, I'd make it 40 instead of 70 or something. But that's different because now you already have a working relationship with the person. You know them. It's not a direct barter where I was flirting with you when you came in, and now I'm getting a discount. There is a difference there. Now, let's go into the friends and family discount, which can be a complete clusterfuck. The reason I say that you should be very careful in giving a discount to your friends and your family is because people don't treat work the same way when it's not their money work. And so you may put that on the back burner. And you may think that there's nothing wrong with you putting this work on the back burner. But the thing is, you're actually going to wind up treating your family shittier than you do your walking customers, and you may not even realize it. Here's a great example. Let's say your friend has a screen broken on their computer. Instead of just putting it through the regular system, you just take it, say it'll be $50. You replace it. You don't even bother turning it on because it's just a friend's job. And when it turns on, there's nothing shows up because the hard drive is dead. Now, the hard drive may have been dead when it was brought in. You sure as hell did not kill a hard drive replacing the screen, unless you booted it up and turned it off improperly. But But now you have to explain that to your friend, and in the back of your friend's mind, he's always going to wonder if you ruined his drive, or took his data. And you're going to be the guy who's responsible for the fact that all of his children's pictures are gone, and it's all because you didn't put it through the regular process that you would a regular customer who you don't even care about as much as your friend. Or maybe a repair service that would typically take 1 day takes a week and a half, and now your friend's going to think to himself, "Gee, you don't even think as much of me as you do of regular people who walk in here," and it's because you're not charging them as much money. And also, the decision to charge friends less money is very, very often, it's not because the friend negotiated the discount, it's because you offered it to them initially. You'll tell them don't worry about it or make it cheaper without giving them the option of, do you want this service to be as fast or the same way it is for regular walking customers? Or do you want it to be a favor that gets done at my convenience? You need to specify that. You need to ask them, do you want this to be done at a homey price where it's done at a homey pace? Or do you want this to be a professional service that's done at the same pace that I offer every other customer? Let them make the decision, because now if they say, I want it to be fast and perfect, and I also want it to be free, then you know that person is not as much of a friend as you thought. Also, another note, good friends are not going to ask you to do this shit on your free time. Good friends understand that you do this maybe 10 or 12 hours a day, that you don't want to look at the car's transmission when you get home. You don't want to figure out the APN settings on an Android phone at 9:30 at night when you're at a bar. You want to drink. And that's okay. And they're not. And you may feel like, oh, I should just look at it because I know how to do this. But you shouldn't have to on your free time. This should be something that's completely left to your convenience when it comes to favors. And you may feel awkward about it, but the thing is, real friends are not going to put you in that awkward position to begin with. For example, when I visit my dad and he has a computer problem, or if there's something that has to be set up, he'll even say, like, if I ever get there on Tuesday, I don't even worry about it. We have time. Like, you can open it on Thursday. And I also appreciate the terminology. Pay attention to that because that's very important. He didn't use the word look at it. He used the word open. This is one of my favorite terms to make fun of in this business. Can you look at this when you get a chance? Okay, I looked at it. It's broken. That makes me a wise ass, right? But I did what they asked me to do. I looked at it. I gave it a good look. I saw that there's a North Bridge over here. There's a little CMOS battery. There's a Wi-Fi card half plugged in. Oh, you don't want me to look at it. You want me to fix it. Okay, well, fuck you. I'll do that tomorrow. You just don't have the balls to say fix it, because fix it sounds like you're putting a burden on my time. Whereas you just want me to put a burden on my time. You don't want to admit that that's what you're asking. I don't like that shit. Be upfront and honest and say, I really need this right now. Can you? I'll pay you back somehow, or at least offer a favor, or at the very least, just try to acknowledge that what you're asking me to do is something that is going to be that is going to take effort. That it's not just that you're asking me to just look at something. Like, don't lie like that. Don't piss me off. That stuff just does piss me off, because again, at the end of a very long day, I want to relax. I don't want to think about this stuff all the time. And then there are those people that literally, when they don't even have a problem, they think of a question because the computer guy's in the room, and you could literally see it going through their head, like they're just thinking of a question to ask. Or the mechanic's in the room, and their car runs fine, but they're just thinking of a question because they actually think that that's how he wants to relate to others through his work. No, I'm done with work right now. One of my good friends has a recording studio, and I asked him to do a basic little cassette transfer for me. I assumed it was going to take him 2 hours, and I paid him the 2-hour rate that he would charge a regular client, because I appreciate his time. And when he breaks his computer, he brings it in. I may give him, like $30 off or something, but he still pays it. He doesn't bother or barter because he understands how difficult it is to run a business, and he understands how annoying it is to deal with people who are pieces of shit. And again, real friends are not going to make that an issue. And if you want to keep the friends that you have, you should treat their jobs the same way you treat customer jobs. Because again, you really don't want to be in the position where you're explaining to a friend that the hard drive in their computer is dead after you touched it. And you don't deal with that with your regular customers because you're smart enough with your regular customers to check that. You put the time and effort in because it's not a homey job. So in conclusion, if a customer flirts with you and expects for that to directly lead to a discount, they can go fuck themselves. Do not flirt with a customer until, even regardless of what you think or what you think they think, you don't do any of that until the service is done. Don't offer any discount just because you like somebody, or don't change the service and make it something that shouldn't be just because they're charming or cute. When dealing with friends, don't just assume that because they're a friend they should get the cheap option. Ask them what it is they want. Do they want to be treated as a regular customer? Or do they want to be treated as a friend who gets an extra discount? And good luck. That's all for today.